Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure unboxing and retro review. Now today we're going to be taking a look at another figure from The Dark Knight Rises. If you've been following along, we've taken a look at the DX11, the DX12, Bane, and now Catwoman. There are only a few more to go. I don't know how deep I'm going to be going, whether or not I'm going to be picking up the Scarecrow and the Demon Batman. You'll have to let me know how extensive you want this series of retro reviews to be. Now, I picked up mine from a local seller, and I've only ever owned this figure once previously, and it was loose, without the box, and without any of the accessories. This is my first time getting a proper in-box version of Selina Kyle, and honestly, I couldn't be more excited. If you do want to pick this up, I do believe it is in stock with Toys Wonderland. If it isn't, there are third-party options coming out very soon. I do believe there's one by Fire Toys and maybe even one by Daft Toys, and those are really great options as well, because for those of you who don't know, this particular figure does have potential cracking issues. Luckily, this one in front of us right here doesn't have any of the cracking or creasing on the outfit, but it definitely is prone to having it. Now, as I said, you can get it from Toys Wonderland, however, the price will be significantly higher than when it first came out because it's rarer, a little bit hard to find. The aftermarket price does go up, so do bear that in mind if you are looking to pick it up from Hong Kong. Link will be in the description below. What we are going to do now, though, is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here, of course, we have the box art for Catwoman herself. Just like we saw with Bane, it's this smaller, more compact style of box that honestly I really do like. You can also see The Dark Knight Rises right up here on the front, and an image of Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I also do love the textural effect on that side of the box. You can see The Dark Knight Rises on the side, and some legal information on the back. I really do like the subtlety of these inserts. Just like we saw with Bane, this one says the storm is coming. I'm really liking how that looks. Now, as I said, I've owned Catwoman previously, but this is the first time I've owned the proper full in-box release. I've owned just a regular old loose one that I got off eBay. This one is pretty much 100% complete, unlike what we saw with Bane. Now, it does have rooted hair, which means there will be some challenges in terms of posing, but hopefully I will be able to tame it throughout the course of this video. And here we have her. I've been assured by the seller that there is no cracking whatsoever, and she does look pretty much pristine, so that is a really nice thing. Now, you can also see she does come with a few accessories dotted around the box, so what we are going to do now is get all of this stuff laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything she comes with. And here we have all of the accessories that come with Catwoman. Now, as you can see, it's kind of slim pickings here. She doesn't come with a hell of a lot of stuff, but the stuff she does come with is kind of essential to the character, so I personally am going to allow it, but it's going to have to be up to you whether or not this personally upsets you. Now, taking a look at the display base first, I love the rippling effect. It's got this raindrop motif. It kind of goes along with the box insert that says a storm is coming. I really love that. You can also see the Dark Knight logo with the crack down the center there. You can, of course, place Catwoman's heel over it, so it looks like she's cracked it with the razor that's embedded in the heel. I love that. It's a really nice touch. And Selina Kyle Catwoman on a beautiful metal nameplate up the front there. Now, she does come with her mask, and I have to say, this might just be one of the scariest pieces I've ever interacted with. Be very careful. It's super flimsy, and people have been known to break it. Just make sure you are actually rotating the mask equally on both sides when you are going to use it, because it can get out of whack and then it can snap. But as you can see, it looks really darn awesome, and it is functional as well. As I said though, you just have to be incredibly careful when you are moving it around. Now, she also does come with a handgun. It's fairly basic. It has a spring-loaded mechanism on top and a removable magazine down the bottom, but unfortunately, there's pretty much no paint on it whatsoever. It's just black plastic. Perfectly fine, and it'll get the job done, but for me personally, a little bit more dry brushing wouldn't have gone astray. Now, she does come with a set of hands, as you can see, with this really nice carbon fiber pad on the back and some pretty simple black gloves for the rest of it. I have to say, I'm really loving the way that carbon fiber pad does look. Now we are going to quickly take a look at the head sculpt without the mask on, because for the rest of the video, I will be wearing, or I should say, Catwoman will be wearing her mask, and I have to say, I'm really liking the Anne Hathaway likeness. I have used a little bit of hairspray just to try and tame the rooted hair because it is kind of wild, but when you do have the mask on, it clips around the back and tightens it to the sculpt so it's not so crazy and frizzy. But I have to say, the likeness is on point. I'm really liking the paint applications. You have to remember, this is an older sculpt and an older figure, so you will see a slightly softer level of paint on the face itself, but for me personally, I can instantly tell who that is, and trust me, as soon as you pop the mask on here, it definitely does elevate the sculpt. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of this stuff out of here and take a closer look at Catwoman herself. And here we have her standing straight up and down the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I have to say, that's Catwoman. I'm really loving how this figure now looks. As soon as you pop the mask on there, it just completes the entire thing. Honestly, I would have liked two separate head sculpts, one with and one without the mask. Maybe a bit of a different expression would have been nice, but I'm not one to complain, as you all well know. I still really like the figure. The outfit is pretty basic in terms of how it looks, but as soon as you punch in and start taking a look at the various textures and bits and pieces of carbon fiber, it really does come together very nicely. I have to say, I am in love with this figure. It's a super impressive piece, and I'm so glad I finally have it back in the collection. What we are going to do now, though, is punch in and take a closer look at the details. And here we have her up close and personal, and I have to say, I am really impressed with how good this figure does look given its age. It's a really darn nice piece. Now, starting off with the head sculpt itself, you can see the mask has been installed, and I really like the way it looks. It looks pretty much exactly like the film itself. However, it was a non-trivial task in order to peg that little piece in the back there without it sort of jumping around and the hair getting caught in it. It was incredibly difficult, so just take your time and be careful not to damage anything, but the end result is stunning in my personal opinion. It looks exactly like Anne Hathaway from the film. Now, moving down to the outfit itself, it's made of an interesting style material. It's like a plastic vinyl rubber hybrid. It's squishy and it feels like it can stretch, but it's been known to crack, so please be careful if you are thinking about articulating your Catwoman. Now, the belt itself is a free-floating piece, so you can move it around, but the good thing is if you pull it down, it sort of frictions in place, so it shouldn't jump around too much, and I do really like the carbon fiber motif, which blends onto the hand itself. Now, they've done the hands, or I should say the gloves and the boots, slightly differently. This is kind of a sock over the top of the forearm, and then the hand pegs in over the top. You can see a little bit of bunching down the bottom and at the top. It's not ideal, but you can futz with it to get it to look just right. Then moving down to the boots, this is one big solid piece. Dean Knight's unfortunately did wither away to nothing, so that may happen to mine over time. Fingers crossed it doesn't, but for now they're looking really darn pristine. You can see the boot is incorporated, and I do love the detail on the back of the heel there with that serrated edge to the blade, and you do have a little bit more texture on the toe. I'm really loving, as simple as this outfit is, how well it comes across, and it comes together perfectly. It looks, as I said, exactly like Catwoman from the film. Now, for a quick side-by-side comparison, because these two are in the exact same movie, it makes sense to start off here. We've got Bane standing alongside Catwoman. I love the way this looks. Honestly, this might just be one of my favorite lines. The Dark Knight Rises line was a really strong set of figures. We got proper custom display bases for each figure. We got a DX figure in the way of Batman in the line, and of course, we've got a bunch of rogues. We don't often get the villain characters, but with DC, we do, and I love these figures. They are truly that darn good. You can see Selina Kyle does scale quite nicely, in my opinion, alongside Bane. Let me know what you think of this scale down in the comments below. Next up, here we have the DX12 Batman with the custom cape and the armory head sculpt on him, and these two look fantastic standing side by side. I'm so glad that Hot Toys decided to give us Catwoman. This is a really nice duo. You can have them fighting back to back, you can have Catwoman on the Batpod, you can have Batman standing there holding his EMP gun. There are so many awesome posing possibilities. I've seen quite a few on Instagram, and by the way, all of y'all out there that have been doing some really awesome crazy poses with Batman and Catwoman, and of course the Batpod as well, they look really darn good. I can't wait to see what this Catwoman looks like on the new Batpod, and of course the DX19 Batman standing alongside this Catwoman. Now of course these two never shared any screen time together, they are from completely different movies, but here we have the DX11 standing alongside Catwoman. You can see the Joker is pretty much the exact same height, minus the goggle cat ears on Catwoman there. It kind of does work, I guess. We never saw these two on screen together because unfortunately, RIP, Heath Ledger did pass away. Apparently there were plans to bring the Joker back for The Dark Knight Rises, but unfortunately they were never able to do so. It's still interesting though to see in figure format what these two would look like standing together. And these two were never technically on screen together either, but here we have Catwoman and Two-Face Harvey Dent. Him being a newer figure, we can get kind of an idea of how a taller scale Batman would look standing next to Catwoman here. He's slightly taller, a little bit broader, and of course the suit is really nice and form-fitting, some modern tailoring there. I do hope that sometime down the line we get an updated Catwoman. Not to say that this one is bad, but potentially slightly out of scale, especially with that new Batman coming out, so I'll have to wait and see what the future holds for this line. Just going over articulation on Catwoman. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, and she's wearing an entirely rubber suit, so I'm going to take it relatively carefully. If you do want to push the joints further on your figure, that's entirely up to you. Now, starting off with the head sculpt itself, it is on a fixed neck, but it is a rubbery style neck, so as you can see, the range of motion is significant. I'm really impressed with how much she can move her head. Now, the arms themselves go out to about there. They swivel pretty much the full way forward, but you can see a lot of bunching and a lot of creasing right up here, so I'm going to be very careful. You do have a butterfly joint as well. Now you do have a single bend at the elbow. I can't get it to go past 90, and that does incorporate a swivel as well. Plus down here at the wrists, a regular 1/6 scale style Hot Toys female wrist peg. Now for the torso, you do have the usual range of motion, crunch, swivel, and pivot side to side. The legs themselves go forward to about there. You can push them further, but the outfit will spring them back into place out to about there. It is slightly baggy as you can see, but it still does hinder her outward range of motion. Swivel at the upper thigh, you do have a double bend there at the knee, and you do have a regular female style 1/6 scale joint for the boot itself. I mean to say that you can move it forward like this, then rotate the joint inside the ankle to get it going side to side. Just wrapping up on Catwoman. Now this was one that I was pretty wary about going in because of course she's known to have a bunch of issues on the outfit. Thank goodness mine so far hasn't developed any, but sometime down the line I'm pretty sure the outfit is going to deteriorate. Nevertheless though, it doesn't stop me from really appreciating how good this figure is. I'm so very glad I decided to add her to the collection. You can't really do a Dark Knight Rises collection without Catwoman, and now that the new Batpod is coming out, I'll be able to pose this Catwoman either riding it or standing next to it. That's going to be one hell of an awesome display. I can't wait to see what that looks like when that Batpod eventually does come out. Now say you're looking to pick up a Catwoman today, you do have to be very wary of the flaking pleather issue. I would personally advise probably going for the third-party options. They are a little bit cheaper. This official Hot Toys one is a little bit hard to find, and in my opinion, they're almost, if not slightly even better than this particular release. The outfit hopefully will last a little bit longer because it is newer. It was produced very recently. This was produced quite a while ago. So hopefully those third-party options will stand the test of time. But if you are sort of an official person, someone who likes to get all the official stuff, let's just say, this one is still a really good pickup as long as yours doesn't have any of those flaking issues. She's still, as I said, a really fantastic release. Now, I picked up mine off a local seller, but I do believe you should be able to find her on toyswonderland.com. The price will be up there though. She's an older release, therefore she's going to be a little bit more expensive, so bear that in mind when you are looking at overseas sellers. Also, while you are in the description, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.